Coming together.
All right, we're just going. We're going to record it. If the stream works, if it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All right. All right, here we go. Panther Nation, the C3 podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
I had fun, man. Just out, you guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
We're gonna go out there and we're playing to win. We're not out here just to show up. We're out here to win.
I don't want guys that want to win, because really, who doesn't? Nobody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. I want players that hate to win.
Well, this embodies everything that we are as a team, as an organization. Our motto is keep pounding. And that's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I don't know. What's up, guys? It's the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Every Tuesday night, we chop it up. We're trying to chop it up, getting chopped up by the internet. Tonight's show is going to be internet difficulties and how my internet, I pay way too much for my internet to have these problems with this streaming speed. Suddenlink's going to get a call from me. But we're here to talk football tonight. I'm going to do it with my two homeboys, Joe Riolano, Mel Mayock. Good to talk to you guys, even though we had a rough start to the night.
Yeah, good. Go ahead, brother. Good to be here, Tony, man. It's Tuesday night, a little bit of technical difficulty, but what's the motto of the team?
Keep pounding. So the show...
What's a C3 podcast without a little technical difficulty?
True that. So it looks like we're just going to be pumping out the audio version of the show tonight. We'll catch up with everybody next week, and we'll get all these bugs worked out. Guys, we're here to talk about tonight's show is... Worley's worst, even worse than a quarterback from a Carshop drinking beer. C3 episode 18.11, where we're going to talk about Daryl Worley. We're going to talk about Greg Olsen and his contract, the Carolina Panthers backup quarterback position, and a lot of other things. So we encourage you, if you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcast, to share this podcast with a friend. We will try to post some video of this show potentially at the on the website and some things like that. So we're going to skip all the extras, guys, and jump right into the discussion. The first point of news is this Daryl Worley controversy or issue, the problem surrounding this. Daryl Worley was traded from the Carolina Panthers somewhat suddenly and somewhat not suddenly, I guess. And it's one of those moves that, you don't see coming until it hits you, but, just is what it is. We sent him to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Eagles, for Torrey Smith, and that was it, just straight up. We sent him home. The Carolina Panthers distanced themselves from Daryl Worley in some ways, saying that much of this discussion, or that they thought he was ready for a new scenery, and it turns out his home was not the scenery he was looking for, because this weekend he was arrested after being found drunk, blocking traffic at some point, resisting arrest, then was tased, and then a gun was found on the scene. So,
that's
guys,
a rough night, man. That's a rough night.
And it was like 6 a.m., so rough morning. Like, Mel Mayock has already been up. Mel Mayock has been firing emails for 2 hours. And Worley has been throwing back shots of fireball or whatever. All right, Mel, Worley caught what? This is not the first time that a player has been found drunk at a stoplight, passed out. Where are you at? This has got to be Worley's worst moment, right?
Man, it sounds like he's got a lot more going on than just a one-night bender. It sounds like a real alcohol problem to me. To be passed out in a car, in an intersection next to the stadium with a gun under your seat, and you're being combative with police officers. There's a lot more going on there, man. The young man's got to get his life together. It's bigger than football, But hey, he threw a little bit of smack the Panthers' way on the way out the door. So it's a little bit ironic to be talking a little bit of trash, and then a month later you're out of the NFL.
Yeah, cut immediately, Joey, by the Philadelphia Eagles. They wasted zero time in.
I know he's got a little girl too that was, maybe a year old or so. So not even, I don't think. But it's really sad to see. Just as sad for anyone, not just an NFL player, but anyone to have a situation like this. Mm-hmm. So all we can do is, hope the guy gets the help he needs and gets back on track.
Two things come to me when I was thinking about this story, Joey, is that first, when you pass out in your car asleep. Now, I know cats get drunk, and this has happened. This happened to a friend of mine where that was the moment that he came to terms with being an alcoholic. Now, as a person who walks that line, and I don't want to make light of it, because somebody told me that when you call yourself an alcoholic and you just like to, drink regularly, like kind of I do, is I like to throw a couple beers back on the reg, you know what I'm saying? That it kind of throws, it's maybe slightly insulting to people that have real issues, where they are having problems, and so I think there are varying degrees of addiction. There are varying degrees of problems. And I know that, guys can party hard and fall asleep. My first thought was is how do booze alone get you that hammered where you think you could drive and you have enough money to get a ride. I feel like a lot of cats are just like trying to save the $10, so they risk it. So he's not like he's hurting, and you're in the city, you got a public transportation system. So I wonder if like there was maybe some pills or some sort of pharmaceutical medication that also, that made this problem worse. You hear about guys and how much they have to deal with pain, and we've talked to Jason Peter, a former Carolina Panther that fell into a heroin addiction. So, there could be other things that are mixed with the alcohol that cause such a big problem. The second thing that came to me was that he was trying to get, play off of the cash that comes with the Super Bowl championship of Philadelphia Eagles. So it's like this, is that somehow he was trying to connect himself to the coattails of a team that had never won a championship, a city that is blessed with the Super Bowl. And, you got to think, remember when Malcolm Butler, when he intercepted that pass for the Patriots and to win that Super Bowl for them, you just thought that guy's never going to buy a drink in Massachusetts ever again. Mm-hmm. Right. And I don't know if he was hoping that maybe, how do you get like that? And then to the point where you resist arrest, they tase you. There's some stuff going on there that, like Mel said, probably, or that could be more serious than a guy that just went on a bender having a little fun or too much fun and got out of control. Mel, you mentioned a tweet to me in our previous broadcast, and what did that tweet have to do with Worley and alcohol?
And I can't even find it now, so whoever put it up there must have taken it down, but there was a Twitter thread going on earlier in the day where it was taking some conversations from Daryl Worley with some of his friends, talking about how some of the other Panthers like to drink too, and how he was drunk during the Saints playoff game. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's all. I can't prove that, so I can't say that with certainty. But that's a Twitter thread that was going on earlier in the day.
I saw that one.
Did you? Okay,
yeah,
well, at least I know I'm not crazy.
No, I know.
I don't like to defend. Actually, I'm trying to learn some lessons as we've been doing this podcast thing, and I tried to marginalize and minimize the problems that were going on with Josh Gordon because I bought into what he was telling us, and that this was a guy with just some marijuana stuff going down, that the league, that he just found himself in the crappy areas of the league rules, And I thought that they were coming down too hard on him. But it turns out that people can lie. And you know, I should know this because we've all done it, where you've lied till you can't lie anymore about something. I know that everybody acts like, no, I ain't ever done that, but I do believe
every married man's been caught in that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't put that in the hamper, honey, or
Yeah,
no, I didn't do that. I didn't forget to do that.
And sometimes what you do is that you realize that what broke you when you get caught is that you gave up on lying. You know, I mean, and so I'm trying to be cautious because I got burned by Josh Gordon. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe it wasn't a big deal. So I thought when I heard that Josh Gordon had they're taking bong hits before the game and before practice, and it wouldn't now surprise me as much as it would have 2 years ago when you tell me that these guys are taking nips. Mm-hmm. But to me, this sounds like, Joey, you knew me when I was 16 years old. This sounds something like 16-year-old Tony would do, where you drink or you do these things before events that you really have it's just stupid and silly to. Like, right. You can just wait till after the game and go party.
And you know, I could make an argument that is not, you're not going to win, but you could make an argument. I understand why somebody would take a bong hit, trying to deal with some pain or something like that, the medicinal impact of marijuana. But alcohol does nothing but dull your senses. So going out and playing a game intoxicated from alcohol is just stupid.
Or really, even going out the night before a game and getting hammered.
Irresponsible and stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you do before you go play. I used to play hockey when I was young, and that's what you did when you went and played stick and puck.
Right.
Not when you played at the highest possible level, making millions of dollars where so much is on the line.
I know, right? Any given play means hundreds of thousands of dollars to you in negotiations. It just doesn't make any sense.
And you ain't a star either.
Right. You're on the bubble, man.
Yeah, you're on the bubble naturally. I think these guys.
Ben Wickery, how quick your career can end over a bad game.
So you can, maybe they just haven't met any real. Maybe these guys have been pampered too much sometimes. Through his career in high school, is that being just such a top athlete let him get away with, I don't want to say get away with murder because he didn't do that, but he did punch a girl in the face at a bar once. It's not like he was an altar boy.
No, this is why it is important to do all the character background checks. The scouts go and talk to
proper vetting.
Yeah, because there were red flags on Daryl Worley coming into the draft a few years ago, and the Panthers took a risk with him. They knew the red flags and they took a risk. These are the types of things that come back and bite you in the butt. So it's a part of the process you pay attention to.
At this point, you're going to be looking to see if the guy can make it back into the NFL.
But hey, does this make you a little bit more horny?
I wanted to ask you guys about that because immediately you heard people say that, I wonder if Hurney knew if there was they were in the know about.
They knew he had a problem, I'm sure.
Or at least suspected it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's saying that he has and that is if that it was to the degree that this wasn't a one-off type mistake.
Right.
Or it could just be good fortune that you got rid of a guy that wasn't fitting in as well as you hoped. But yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire generally. So the idea to me, when people said, oh, Hurney was onto something, I shrugged that off initially. But then you start to hear the circumstances of the arrest a little bit more. It wasn't like he was asleep in the parking lot at a bar. And people, they tried to wake him up and then things went terrible. It was, it seemed more serious than that, being blocking traffic. And then you hear these rumors of what you guys are saying about having a party and then maybe the night before, maybe partying still throughout the night going into the game or something like that. And those rumors all of a sudden go from being far out to more plausible. Mm-hmm. And that is crazy that I just find it so fascinating and scary when you pull back the curtain of life and you realize that we're all so, like, this is not just relegated to just football.
No.
You know, this is a human condition in so many ways, and we are just walking the line of between living and pure disaster at every moment. And it can just hit you out of anywhere. It could be your own fault. It can be not your own fault. Now, there's another story that popped up yesterday and has been exacerbated by a tweet back and forth tweet back. It's not really back and forth just yet. The players started reporting this week for, what do they call them? Voluntary?
Well, yeah, voluntary.
Voluntary workout, right?
But there's something that they can't be organized.
See,
right, they're not.
They can't be supervised by coaches, right?
Right. So so instead of being the OTAs, right?
Right.
They're not organized team activities.
Well, they have something to do with coaches because teams with new coaches were able to start a week earlier. So it has something to do with it.
And work with the team. But if you don't have a new coach, you're not allowed.
So when I hear that term, and when you hear the term voluntary workouts, then you hear the term organized team workouts later on. Well, and then you get players who we're criticizing them if they don't show up. So are these things voluntary? A, and then if they're not organized, I love to think of them just like chaos out there, and guys doing whatever they want. You know, Cam Newton's throwing 40-yard passes while Graham Gano is trying to kick 40-yard field goals, and like everybody is just.
I think it's a little more organized than that, but
I know.
But you have the team captains. You know, they're the ones running the show when coaches aren't there.
Yeah, I just like to think of it that way. But I did see this. I saw another video. Did you see the video from the workout? And I don't know how recent this was or if it was a past, but it was Olsen doing a box jump. I mean, not Olsen. Olsen can't do no.
Don't tell me you're going to fall into this trap. Did you listen to WFNZ today?
No.
There was an entire hour from 8 a.m. where Mac was teasing this story. You got to see what Luke did. You got to see this. This is just so huge. Unbelievable how athletic this is. And he goes into talking about it, and it was just like an epic radio moment because it came out that video was actually 3 years old, and Nick the Slick from Twitter was just posting it to get people hyped. He picked up on it, thought it was current. I mean, Josh Norman was in the background of this video.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So that was the same video from three, because I remember one like that.
Yeah, it's the same one.
You wonder, well, not like that. I remember that video, it turns out. You know, I wonder if that's what that's what they're doing, like having, but it's guys in the workout room together, you know, lifting, getting learning about each other, you know, a little camaraderie. So Greg Olsen shows up to this event, and this is where the players are meeting with the team. Like you said, the team reporters are giving us a little insight into what guys are doing. Maybe they're meeting with the trainers. I don't know. But Greg Olsen was asked about his contract status by Bill Voth, or I don't know if he was prompted. And Greg Olsen said that, you know, he was interested in getting a contract done before the season, and that he wanted to play with the Panthers to know that he was with the organization for the long term. Now, this resulted in your guy, Darren Gant, right? And let me see if I got this. Darren Gant posted a link to a story he wrote a year ago, but he retweeted it. He said this: "Oh, another offseason of Greg not wanting to be a distraction. He said, make it clear. And then Greg Olsen tweeted him back, retweeted, quote retweet. And he said, make it clear your desire to play for @Panthers this year and beyond. Translation, Olsen is a distraction. And then he mentioned Darren Gant, and he said, and his repeated attempts at dry humor is getting old. Subject verb agreement. Greg Olsen. It's okay though.
English professor at work there.
Yeah, it is old. That's something I would say in conversation though, so I can't be too hard on him. Now, Darren Gant is known for being two things: snarky as all get out, right? And two, laughing at his jokes harder than anybody, right? He does like that. But Greg Olsen is firing a shot here, Mel. And I'm going to let you start because Darren Gant is your guy.
Darren is my guy, and I have been following Darren Gant for 20 years or so, and he does have a dry, wry sense of humor, and that is part of his charm. He is